Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Urbana Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Commission meeting on Tuesday, July 15th. We would like to do a call to order. And, I just did the call to order. We'd now like to do a roll call.
Annie Adams.
Present.
Susan Jones.
Here.
Tommy Griscom. Choshi Wang.
Yes.
Bruce Mickelson.
Here.
Keenan Portis.
Here.
Sartak Prasad. Nancy Westcott.
Here.
And I'm Carmen Franks.
Are there any suggested changes to the agenda? I personally would like to talk about the $2,500 that we have to spend. If everyone would be okay with that?
Adding it to the agenda?
Adding it to the agenda?
I would second that motion.
All right.
All in favor?
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The ayes have it. All right, is there anything else we would like to add to the agenda? All right, then, moving along, how are we feeling about the approval of minutes of previous meetings from April 15th and May 20th? Are there any changes we would like to make or suggested changes?
I have to say, I couldn't find the April minutes. I found them May minutes. And I found February and March, but I was doing this by Googling, and I don't know, every time I went into the city, I got different dates and couldn't do stuff, so I did not see the April ones.
Yeah, they're not available online until they're approved. So they're unapproved minutes in your packet. Well, they're available online because they're in the packet, so you should have seen it there.
Well, I went back to look for the packet, and I couldn't find it a second time, so I just won't vote on that one. I did see the May ones, though.
Okay.
And got sidetracked, I guess.
Okay.
I didn't see anything to change.
All right, do we have a second? All right, we got a first from Sue, a second from Bruce. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. With one abstention, Nancy, because she was unable to locate the April. All right, with one abstention. Can we move this forward? I think we can. All right. Is there any public input?
Are we approving the May minutes too, or
Oh, did
was
we?
that for
Oh, we're gonna do
both?
them one at a time. I see you now. All right. So the April minutes, we were approved with one abstention. How about the May minutes? Are we able to approve those? All right. All right, we got 2 seconds. We got a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. All right, the May meeting minutes have been approved. Moving on, do we have any public input? Did anyone get any nasty letters? Anything? Nothing. All right, no public input. We have some unfinished business, which is going to be the BPAC goals and initiatives. And I think that'll be for 25. This is 24, 25. I'm going to guess that we probably mean 25, 26. I could be wrong. But that would be our first meeting agenda, unless we wish to speak about, what order, do we want to talk about the bike light giveaway first? Because that might help focus us on goals. Not bike light giveaway, I'm sorry, I gave away what I want to spend that $2,500 on. Does it matter what order?
I mean, I was thinking that was going under new business.
All right, never mind, that
25.
goes under new business.
Unless it's been talked about previously.
We must first speak of our goals and initiatives. Okay, So we have had some discussions up until now about how these meetings should be structured and how we could work more closely with the city to achieve the goals of the commission. And I am wondering if anyone else, I know Bruce, you were going to do some work on this. I don't know if you remember this. You probably do not.
Yeah, he organized them, and that's what's on the very last page of the packet, is grouping them into
Okay.
the 3 categories. So the year is still 2024, 2025, because these were the goals that were set then. I don't think we added anything to those yet. So Annie, it sounded like you had one to add to the list, or is it already in here related to the $2,500?
Like goals to make people get lights on bikes?
I noticed this is for fiscal year 2024 to 2025, but we're already in 2025.
Right, so these were the goals that were set previously.
Oh.
Maybe we're updating these for the current fiscal year.
Right.
I'm not sure if this was set for 2 fiscal years or it's for 1 calendar year that extended from FY '24. Okay.
That university culture.
So,
I mean, we are now in a 25, 26 fiscal year. So we would pass these, I think, for the next.
right, so I think the discussion is do we want these to be our current goals? Or are we looking to change how we organize our goals and how we organize ourselves? I think that's the question. Does this feel effective? Having these goals and these initiatives, or does it seem wiser to divide ourselves into subgroups? Because that is one idea, was to divide ourselves into subgroups, and the subgroups meet on the off months, and then the main group meets on the other months, and then we all report back to each other. And the subgroup goals might have been like promotion, safety, crosswalks. And so that's another way to do this. Are these too specific, is my question. Do we like these goals? Do we feel comfortable with them?
I do.
Well, when I saw them laid out like this, I wondered if we wanted to divide them up into these 3 groups and just have 3 committees with 3 groups. I don't know. Or if we wanted to select specific goals for specific subcommittees.
I guess for the first group, I don't really see that as a subcommittee. That seems like something we would keep as the full committee here. 'Cause, I mean, the second one is to establish the subcommittees, right?
Right,
Um,
right.
But maybe an advocacy subcommittee makes sense with some of the things from the second section. And we currently have the one bike share subcommittee as well.
Yeah, that's Keenan, me, Sarthak, and Marcus, who are by Zoom.
Right. Marcus is no longer with the city of Urbana, so
Okay,
that
so-
was on the agenda to talk about later.
There were three of us on this subcommittee.
Right, yeah.
It's basically, Keenan might have a sharper way of describing it than I do. It's basically to coordinate whatever policies we evolve having to do with WEO and bike share operations with the other entities where these bikes are operating on campus, Champaign Park District, and to try to get some, so somebody writes, rents one of these bikes, knows, that the rules are consistent, as they move around the towns, and also to see if we can come up with, in concert with these other groups, some more rational way of having these bikes clustered so they're not, that was a concern that came up, or lying in the middle of Colorado Avenue, so that's kind of what we're working on. In case that's a coalesced committee at this point, I don't get too far in. At this point, I think it's up to Champaign to play the first card. In other words, that's the negotiation in terms of the updating of the contract and the regulations, with an assumption that when those regulations are clarified, we can review those and choose to follow suit. That's where we are. That's too much about one committee, one subcommittee.
So I was just on the Bike Illinois webpage, and they have advocacy, education, events and programs, and then governance. So then those subcommittees would meet, and then they come back, and then they report back. So that's another way to move this ahead. I mean, the other big question I have is, a lot of this is dependent on the city and what the city's plans are. So we can propose as much as we want, but if we don't know, what direction the city is taking, it's kind of hard for us to organize ourselves.
Well, in light of that, my instinct is to organize these subcommittees as needed. I mean, we had a clear and present urgency, which created the one on the bike share. And as other things, as you say, bubble up budgetarily or from other directions, from the city or the other entities around town, we can create subcommittees to react to that. A lot of this other stuff, I think we can discuss as a group and investigate without too much division.
Well, I would like to work more on the snow removal advocacy for that. Sidewalk snow removal. But I don't know whether to do that as a whole group or, the an off-month group.
Yeah, it sounds like I'm not picking up a lot on people want to do the separate subcommittees. It sounds like people want to keep meeting every month.
Yeah, I don't think we're like we don't quite know like you were saying, we don't really know where we're going.
Right.
So it makes sense for at least for now.
We'll just continue to meet every month. And, I'm not sure if we have a very big agenda. I mean, we could just add snow removal to the agenda and start talking about it.
Right.
I mean, it's just in the past, we had such packed agendas, and it just seems like we don't have that at this moment. So it seems like we can maybe have more room to discuss other things. My only concern is this is a lot of goals. That's my only concern with this list here. But if we want to if people want to take lead on them, and I'm not quite sure.
How about we just start grouping things into subcommittees as they come up? Like was said, like snow removal could maybe go into the advocacy bucket. I was going to share at one point that I don't know if you all have heard that there's a speed limit bill with the state, HB 2934, to lower the speed limit. Okay, maybe you're all aware. Oh. But something like that, I didn't know if there would be, more advocacy needed for that, more of a voice. So, I mean, as these things are coming up, we can start putting them in these buckets. And then maybe by the end of the calendar year, when we need to set our new schedule, we can set new schedule for the subcommittees and for this group. Since our schedule is set for the rest of the year to be monthly right now, and I think we'd have to vote at least to change it. Now at least we would have, several more months to think about how we want to set up our meetings for the next year.
And I kind of like the idea of someone just, being in charge of news, and every month I know at the end we all do announcements and different things, but just that idea is good. I know Bike Illinois just sent out their email saying where we are on different legislative agendas, and I can talk about that at the end.
Well, if we regard the bike share subcommittee as something of a pilot project, and if we were able, no, seriously, we're able to come back in a few weeks with something substantive that demonstrates that having subcommittees operating does some good, then we can use that as a model of some sort for doing other ones. It'll be a while before the snow flies. I share your concern about that, and I think public concern with it increases as the temperature drops below 40, and
Yeah.
we've got some time before we
Right
get
now.
there. Yeah.
So I'll share with the group that in addition to this list of goals, I started a document where I've been compiling all the things we talk about at the meetings. I've only been doing this since March, so it's only March, April, May included in this. But my list of topics in here so far, I'll just read them off to you. There's some overlap with this list, but I know there's a number of things missing that you all talked about before I became involved with this group as well. So I've got annual report from 2023 to 2024, bylaws issues, 2 of those, meeting frequency and public input, the e-bike policy and contract updates. 1 new category I added just called endorsements, approvals, and recommendations to council. Events, goals, membership, including vacancies, because we're going to talk about that a little bit today. The no turn on red issue, on-street bike lanes, safe streets for all grants, snow shoveling announcements, speed limit reductions, and Vision Zero network. I haven't figured out how I could share this with the rest of you so you could see this, but without it violating Open Meetings Act, but I will at least keep track of things here so that all of our notes from the meetings are consolidated in one place, other than in lots of meeting minutes. And if there's a way I can share it with the group, I will.
I think that's an effective coalescing of what we're trying to do here. My thought, given the, we're sort of slack in the room right now, and I don't think it would be remiss of us to just move to change the summary of goals to FY 25-26
Yeah.
and continue on this basis, and then, as we build momentum, you've lived in this town long enough to know that our momentum follows the ebb and flow of the University of Illinois. As things heat up again in about a month, we might come back to this and see if we can tighten this, create a subcommittee or two, or maybe prioritize from the list that we've got here and that Carmen has helped it tighten a bit farther. So I will move then that we adopt the summary of goals for FY 24-25 as the summary of goals for FY 25-26.
I'll second that. Whole consolidation thing happening.
And Carmen, I really like the list that you came up with. Is there any way we can get your list somewhere? Would anyone be interested in getting that list on the summary of goals? Or so we could all see it and have it?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I set it up as like a table of contents in here, so I can at least just share the topics with you all.
Because those topics seem right. Like, those topics seem like the,
Talking about, dude.
yeah.
Going to just be legitimately emailed to all of us as a draft for
I
discussion?
think so. I just don't want to break any OMA rules, so, I'll check with the clerk.
Discussing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you shared a document, I'm sure I can share a document, as long as we're
share
not
it.
actively making changes, so it's like a discussion, it's probably,
I see.
that's
Okay.
okay, right?
No one edit the document.
Right.
No one
Unless we're
discuss the
here
document.
in the meeting. Okay,
But
Yeah.
yeah, I'll
But-
share it.
I wonder if, before you send it out, if you could like amend the document? You know, because it seems like we're probably going to change this anyway, so maybe it could be, you know, a working document of goals or something? Because it sounds like
Yeah.
yours could be fit into these different groups, perhaps. It would just be a way of, you know, continuing the organization.
And once we have this before us at the next meeting, we can revisit the whole thing, clean it up or reorganize with the two documents in front of us.
Oh, okay,
That make sense?
yeah.
All right, sounds like then we are ready to approve. So we will have the current summary of goals for fiscal year 24 to 2025. We'll update that to 25, 26, and then we will also have the list of, that Carmen has been keeping, of topics that keep coming up. And then maybe next month we get it tightened up a little bit more. Does that seem agreeable? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, any,
It's
yep.
just one question, so if, could Carmen send out the list and we could, so we would know next month what to, what we're gonna talk about, well, to talk about, yeah.
We just don't want to talk about it. You know, we don't want to talk about it not at the meeting, but she can
Right.
send it out just like she sends out, just like we get agenda and minutes.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, then, so I think we can move that ahead. We next have the reports of city officials and staff and reports of committees.
Is there a report from the subcommittee before I go?
I think you can pretty much have it. I mean,
Yeah.
we had, our Zoom meetings have come to the point where we're watching with great interest to see what the negotiations between the bike share company and Champaign evolve. There are limits to certain things we can know. Apparently, the fiscal arrangements are confidential. I'm not sure why, but they are. Nonetheless, it'll be clear that because anybody who rents a bike has to know what the rules are, we're going to find out, I think, pretty directly what the regulations are that are being adopted by Champaign in terms of where to go, how fast, and where to park the bike when you're done. So that's where we are at this point, sort of waiting to hear more about those interactions between the university and Champaign and the bike.
Just for clarification, the bike share, you mean Leo?
Yeah, it's the only player in town now.
And they have the contract with City of Champaign, but not with the City of Champaign?
I think our contract is lapsed, is that right, Keenan? I think that's what it is. We don't have a contract at this point.
That's
It's-
correct.
It's
We do not,
expired.
we do
right?
not have a contract.
Champagne's, I think, is also expired, but under negotiation. So we're sort of waiting for things to domino. Yeah, there's no other player right now in the bike share.
All right, that sounds good.
I'll give my
Thank you.
updates if we're ready. So for project updates, The Florida Avenue Shared Use Path, the plans are still 90% complete, and it has still cleared the SHPO review. Same update as last time. Work is still planned for 2026. The Baker's Lane Shared Use Path, the final plan set is being prepared right now. Still, next step is to secure easements, and construction is still planned to begin in early fall and completed in 2026. The CDBG sidewalk improvements, these were constructed in March, and the sod was installed in May, and the project is now complete. The EQL streetlights, the FY22 project, most of the new lighting circuits are ready to be connected to power, so construction's still underway right now. Florida Avenue from James Cherry to Smith, the streetlights are lagging a bit, but they are installing the foundations for new lights now. The EQL FY25 program, this is including sidewalks, ramps, streetlights, and some traffic calming devices on Broadway, Kerr, and Cottage Grove. The sidewalk and streetlight design is underway, and the traffic calming design is about to begin. Lincoln Avenue Corridor Study, our final public input phase ended May 30th. The project team presented last week to council on July 7th, and we will present again on Monday, July 21st. We are trying to get council to approve the recommendations so we can use that approval in grant applications in the future.
And Carmen, were there any suggested changes to what we saw, or you're still in the process of working through that?
Most of the opposition is to the access restrictions. So what was initially access closures on Indiana, not Ohio, Iowa, and Oregon. They were fully closed initially, and then we changed those to right out only at Iowa and Oregon, and in only, both northbound and southbound in only at Indiana. So, I mean, that's a pretty significant change for the community. So that's what a lot of the pushback is about. But, you know, council has a lot of questions on how the traffic will be impacted on Lincoln, specifically at the Ohio intersection, where that has the highest crash record, is the segments of Lincoln around Iowa, not just the intersection. But also they want to know traffic impacts to the side streets like Busey as well. So we are preparing for that presentation on Monday, and then hopefully we can be moved to the agenda, ideally consent agenda, for the next meeting after that. But no, nothing changed since I presented the recommendations to you guys. Because the public input phase was, there was more support than opposition. Right. There's still some concern and opposition, but significantly more approval than opposition.
Right, and you'll never get 100% approval on anything, and you will always have folks who are upset about any road changes, whether it's a bike lane or crosswalk or you know, whatever it is. So I appreciate your work in this space. I know it's not easy to do. Thank you.
Then the other Lincoln Avenue project, farther north from Washer to Killarney, the SS4A grant funding is still under review by DOT. The public outreach plan and the concept plan are underway now, and it's expected to bid we're expected to bid the project in FY28. So no change since the last update, still ongoing. Florida Avenue right to Hillcrest, this is the roadway project. The intersection design details are getting reviewed by IDOT now, particularly at Race Street and Vine Street intersections. After we get IDOT's review of these intersections, the city would like to share the preliminary design with BPAC as it relates to pedestrian and bicycle flow through the intersections. So that's an update from John. I assume he'll come and present that update.
That's fantastic, because I think they want to signalize that intersection, which
right.
I have opinions on.
So which intersection would that be that they're going to signalize?
I believe both Race and Vine Street, 2 new signals.
Okay.
And we do not have the funding yet for that, do we?
That is still under review by
The
DOT,
federal
so
government,
it's
yeah,
awarded, but not finalized.
right. And
Yeah.
you've already, I think, went through the side path. We're still waiting on the university on that one, or have you not gone through that one yet?
That, we're not, no, we've cleared SHPO, that we're good to go with the shared use
Wonderful.
path.
Okay,
That one
great.
is fully funded by IDOT, so that's state funding. for
Yeah,
the
I just
shared
wanted,
use
I
path.
just know that there was a holdup over the historical nature.
It cleared SHPO back in May, I believe.
Okay, great, thank you.
And then a few more to go. Traffic signal improvements, we're still planning to update the audio devices for pedestrian signals at up to 14 signalized intersections, so I've shared this previously. I don't recall the exact quarter that we're going to do that this fiscal year, but it's coming up relatively soon. Sidewalk improvements from FY '25. Our contractor is now under contract for about 700 feet of sidewalk replacement in West Urbana. The pre-construction meeting is planned for this week, unless they had it already today. I can't remember which day it was, but we're also adding an additional 100 feet of sidewalk to the contract in response to a very competitive bid price that we got for that project. So that'll be in West Urbana as well.
Do you have where in West Urbana they're going to get some slick new sidewalks?
These are just spread throughout. They're
Okay.
small patches of the worst areas that we
Right.
found. So major cracking, really deteriorated panels. So it
That's
may only be a
fantastic.
few panels in some places, but there are areas where it was really, I'm certain it was not ADA compliant.
Right, that's great, awesome, thank you.
So we have funding for this upcoming fiscal year for similar work. So we're going to keep this momentum going of finding really the worst sidewalk segments that really need replacement. And ones that can be done relatively easy, where we don't need to hire a consultant to do a full design plan. We can just sketch something up in-house and then have a contractor do those quickly. Yeah, so then the CIP was finalized and incorporated into the FY '26 budget. Then I have some grant update things. So IDOT came up with a new program. I think I shared this with you at the last meeting, called a Local Projects Grant. And we believe it's a way for IDOT to help local agencies fill in the gap from those federal grants that we're not going to receive, potentially won't receive. So we submitted 5 applications for that back in June for our largest projects that would qualify.
Were you able to get Lincoln Avenue in there or no?
Yes, both the North and the South Lincoln Avenue projects were in there, Florida Avenue, and then the 2 ITEP shared use path projects we put in there because there's a budget shortfall for construction. Yeah. And then the HSIP, we determined that our projects were not far enough along to pursue this grant this year. So maybe in a future year, we'll be able to go after that one with likely coordination and help from RPC. Safe Routes to School, that grant cycle opens August 1st and closes October 13th. So we're thinking about how we might be able to partner with the school district and RPC for what we might apply for there. We had some thoughts on putting together a community travel plan around the schools. So mostly how traffic will move, and also looking at where students walk and bike to get to schools. And once you put that plan together, then ideally we would use that in the future to apply for infrastructure grants through the program. And then the ITEP grants, the next grant cycle isn't expected to open until August 2026. So thinking about that one, but we don't have anything specific planned yet. Few other things, sorry, I'm going on, I'm taking up most of the time, but IDOT recently had a ADA coordinator webinar, not really course, but yeah, you were, okay. So I attended most of it, but I plan to attend future ones, and our ADA coordinator for the city attended as well. So just letting you guys know that I'm hoping that our ADA coordinator and Public Works will work more closely together so we can really focus on ADA compliance, maybe a bit more than we did previously. and we're getting more familiar with what the IDOT requirements are. So I'm planning to meet with our coordinator in the coming months, at least once, hopefully monthly or more.
Keenan, did you pick up anything from it?
I would say this session was mostly kind of just basic information and asking questions on where your organization is at. I would say for the Urbana Park District, we're in a pretty good spot with our transition plan. And the fact that we have 2 ADA coordinators that are focused on those tasks, me and Jameel Jones. So it was a lot of basic background information, and going forward, they're going to ask presenters on specific topics we want to talk about. So we mentioned playgrounds specifically for accessibility, because that's a big thing for us. So in the future, you might see me and Jameel on a webinar one day.
I think a few of the things I got out of it that I wrote down was that we need to keep our ADA transition plan online. I'm not sure it made it with the recent website update to the city, so we'll get on that. And that it should be a living document with continual updates made to it. So maybe this is something that this group could help with in the future.
Carmen, can I ask you, what's your transition plan on now?
What year or where?
Where is it kept? Or how is the data kept? Or,
It was previously on our website.
okay, okay.
Don't know right now. I'll have to look, get back. Well, I hope that our ADA coordinator, I'm not the ADA coordinator, but I hope Carla Boyd knows where that is. She and I will meet in a week or so to talk about some of these things.
And to be clear, a transition plan is, I'm assuming,
It's, for me, how I describe it, we have a long list of deficiencies that are listed out by park. And there's also a document that we've gotten from our ADA consultant, Jennifer Skolsky, and that's the whole transition plan is our data along with that evaluation. And so we go through that and make reports, well, I make reports, and we try to knock down as many deficiencies as we can.
I do have kind of a specific question. It had come to my attention, I have to say I've not read the ADA document, but someone was telling me that at intersections where typically you have like 2 sidewalk entrances that are like at 90-degree angles, and that they're now thinking that it's better to have at an intersection and like an arch, so it would extend.
Not the little triangle.
Yeah, not the. Yeah, so that the turning point would be an arc instead of 2 narrow pathways, and that the arc was better because it could fit any wheelchair or stroller or whatever. I don't know if that had never really occurred to me, because I kind of like the narrow ones, because for me it's easier. But I was just wondering if they had said anything about that, because that sounded new to me.
I had not heard that. I had always heard that the 2 were better than 1 facing the center, so that you're aligning yourselves more, like a wheelchair could align themselves better with the actual crosswalk. I revisited the ProWag manual recently, just for a project out of curiosity, and they don't get into those specifics of which is the priority, just, at least I don't think they did, just the different types that should be used and how much space should be provided, for the, what do you call it, like the pad, the dismount area where you're coming off of the ramp. But yeah, I hadn't heard that.
Thank you.
But yeah, I'll find our transition plan, make sure we've got it posted somewhere. And we will continue to self-evaluate our deficiencies and track our compliance across the city. I know RPC has our sidewalk network on their website.
And you are aware, I can't remember, I think you guys are aware of Deep Walk, which is a local startup. They're now up in Chicago. Okay. And they allow you to do, it's less inexpensive because you have an app and you can figure stuff out Does that make sense to you?
Yeah,
These words I'm
like,
saying? Okay.
Video as you walk down the sidewalk and it tells you your compliance, yeah.
Okay.
I've heard them speak at a conference, and I know our former Public Works Director, he was familiar with that group
Right.
and was interested in learning more, but we never
Well, if you
got
ever
to
need a
it yet.
contact, I can put you in contact with them. I've spoken with them. They are more than willing to help out and work with us. So, yeah.
Great.
Yep. They are a local startup, and they are gonna, they're doing well. Again, they're up in Chicago. They're a great crew.
That's all the city things I had. I guess I just was going to note that the Champaign-Urbana Active Transportation Group that's hosted by CUATS through RPC started meeting in March. They've had one meeting so far, and I think several people in the, I think Joshi and I and Sartak was there. Keenan, were you there? Maybe not. But I think BPAC is represented in that group, so. That's all I have for updates. Oh, yeah, I had that in new business. I guess the news for Marcus from the city is that he's no longer with the city. He's now working for the city of Bloomington. So we'll miss Marcus.
Yeah.
He didn't move away, though. He didn't move to Bloomington. He's going to commute, so he'll still be in the area.
It creates a vacancy, of course, with the subcommittee.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yep. Yeah, I have a bunch of thank yous for a lot of people who have helped BPAC through the years who are no longer with us, so I can do that at announcements. All right, that was deeply impressive. Thank you. There's a lot. I mean, it was just there was so much money coming in from the federal government at a certain point, and we were all just trying to shovel through those projects. So I appreciate the city for working as fast as they can to get the money and then to spend the money and get it out there, because we all know we have a lot of crumbling infrastructure. I think the city is we have like a $10 million deficit in our infrastructure, if I am correct, in what. If we had all the money in the world and we could fix it, I believe that's our number.
It was more like 15. but
Oh, no.
It's in the
Well, it grows
CIP.
every year. It grows, I know, because whatever you don't do, it like adds, it's like any debt, right? Whatever you don't pay, the debt gets higher every year that you don't fulfill that infrastructure. Okay, well, the last time I looked, it was 10. It sounds like we're up to 15 million. So any dent we can make in that is absolutely fantastic. All right, so we're moving on to new business, vacancies. The Urbana School District 116 vacancy, I have tried to hunt, and I haven't had any luck getting anyone to fill that. And then Bike Share Subcommittee Coordinator. So it looks like that's our first order of new business. Anyone?
Yeah, I added that just to see if everyone's supportive of me reaching out to, I believe her first name is Linda Gibbons. She's on the Safe Routes to School Committee. I don't know if she came to the meeting that happened today because I didn't go, but I'll have to check in with my colleague who.
That would be fantastic. Yes, the answer is yes, please.
Okay.
And I did a bike ride, and I realized there were like 3 young people there, and I kind of forgot to beg them to be to see if they would be on BPAC, because we do have a vacancy for if there's someone in high school who would like to be on BPAC. We do have an opening. I would just really appreciate their feedback. I mean, a lot of high schoolers don't have cars, and so they will be taking the bus and they'll be walking, and just be really helpful to hear their perspective.
Okay, about replacing Marcus then.
Okay, so, yeah. Can the subcommittee move on without Marcus? I know someone else will have to arrange the Zoom calls. I think he put those together. But could the 3 of you continue meeting as a subcommittee without his leadership?
Yeah, I'm my access to, Marcus had access to the Urbana setup, for Zoom, right? My access is like a lot of other people's through the University of Illinois. If there's no violation of a regulation for us to meet, and I can set the meeting up, but whether it's legit for us to do that is a question,
So yes, I work at the University of Illinois, and I do use products on my personal time, but those are allowed products. I just think it would be a quick call to tech to see if you are able to use.
Well, I know I can do it. The question is whether it's legitimate.
That's what I'm
for
asking, if you
Urbana to
can-
do this,
Yeah, if you can use, well, what your question will be, isn't your question, can I use, you think it's legit to use the University of Illinois Zoom product for a City of Urbana subcommittee? You think that's a legit use?
From my perspective as a layman, Zoom is Zoom, and it's 3 people meeting,
Okay.
or 4 in basically a closed meeting. It's not open to everybody anyway.
Yeah, you're under the Open Meetings Act. You have less people than, it sounds to me like it's legit.
It's legit, but I just,
I can check with
can you check with
IT or
yeah, can you check with
legal
local
just to
IT
be
people?
sure, yeah.
As long as you're under the open, it doesn't, I mean, you can meet and discuss as long as you're under, 3 people?
Yeah,
You had,
You're-
Marcus was, yeah, as long as you're under 3 people, you can meet however you want.
Check with IT to just double check for the sake of
Yeah.
safety. And yeah.
I know
can-
you're good with the Open Meetings Act, like Marcus checked that, but yeah, I'll check with IT.
Okay, so I guess by default, Keenan's Park District, I'm the only civilian City of Urbana person that's on this committee, right? Sarthac is university, and so. That's true. So, I mean, I don't need the aggravation, but I will, let's do it this way. I will set up the Zooms. Vice chairing, all right? Yeah. I will volunteer. Let me see if I can clean. I'll volunteer to set up the Zooms and do the next couple of meetings until such time as the City of Urbana, in its wisdom and financial ability, acquires a Marcus, okay?
Sounds great, that sounds great.
All right? Okay, all right.
But if there are 3 people, can't we meet?
Yeah, 3
Okay.
is okay.
Okay, and we,
Marcus wasn't a member, so he was,
The Marcus was the facilitator.
Yeah.
so. All right, I'll email, Keenan, you already know what's going on, so I'll email you and Sarthac, and we'll figure out when we're gonna do the next one. It's coming up fairly soon, I think. Okay.
Fine with the times we have. 10
Okay.
a.m.
The crucial thing, I don't want to get in a side talk too much, the crucial thing is whether Sarthac has any new information about the negotiations with WEO. If not, we can let it slide until he gives us a flag to do something like that. But in any case, I'll get to you guys in the next day or so, okay?
All right, so that is going to move us on to the budget. We have $2,500 to spend, and Sarthac's not here, but normally what we do with the $2,500 is we give it to Light the Night. The University of Illinois puts the money towards that, and then lights are installed on people's bikes. They're fairly inexpensive lights. They're not very bright, and it's a good. I'm glad it happens. My thought would be this: I don't know how people on the commission would feel if we took the money ourselves. I can hear Sarthak screaming, but he's not here. If we took the money ourselves and we purchased them through a local bike shop. I've spoken with a local bike shop about if we could get, technically we could get, for $2,500, we could get at minimum 100 decent front and back lights, or we just get backlights, and then you would be getting 200 backlights. We would have to install them because they'd be the kind that you have to kind of screw on with a little, they don't take too long, but you can.
But they're not the elastic.
They're not the elastic pop-on ones. So we would have to screw them on, and we would, advertise that we could be at the farmer's market, at the tent that's out there, at the bike tent that's out there. We could be out there and say, we have lights to give away, and it would allow us to meet people in Urbana who are biking and who need lights. The other thought would be you could do half there, and then you could also do half at the local bike shop. When I was talking to the local bike shop, so there is in Urbana a local bike shop, and then there's a local bike repair shop. They're in the same space, and they're on the same street as the Kombucha, 25 o'clock, and Bartolotta's, and they were saying we could just do like a little event that day, and we could see if we could like shut down the street, talk to folks if they would just like to have, if the folks there on the street would like to have musicians, and then it would be a way to get people out to see to get to understand that there's a bike shop there, and that this is where you can get your bike repaired, and then we could do, a free light giveaway there as well. So I know it's a little more work on our end, but that's just something I would just like to open for discussion.
How many of the little springy ones do we get for $2,500?
The really inexpensive ones?
Right.
I don't know. I was more interested in just like an actual decent backlight, because I actually can't see those little springy ones. Like, I see people bike off with them, and I'm like, I'm not sure we did anyone a favor, kind of. I mean, I know we did, but you just have to do the math on it. If each one's $5, then $2,500 goes into $5. And do you want front lights? If each one's $10, just think of it that way.
Because, my thinking is having twice as many lights, twice as many people with some light is better than half of those people not having anything.
I've got a springy backlight that's worked well for years. It's easy to take on and off and swap the battery, and it's fairly robust. And if you're worried about having to be stolen, you take it out and put it in your pocket in about 5 seconds. So, there's some advantage of it. My real concern here, Annie, the idea is great. I think if you get a situation where you're valorizing one bike retailer over others, that's going to cause trouble. I'd rather go with the earlier proposal where we do it. You can acquire the lights through a source, like a bike shop. But I think we need to distribute them ourselves, rather than, at a bike shop site, which would draw people there as opposed to up to places on University Avenue or other ones that might take umbrage.
My only question, and I don't disagree with you. My only question is how many bike shops does Urbana have?
Well, we got, it's good, that's the problem. We have more than one. We got the guys on University, right? We got Durst is still there. That's big. We've got the one you're talking about. There were a couple of guys, I'm not talking out of school, at the farmer's market a couple of Saturdays ago.
Right.
There were guys who are setting up, working out of a home, doing bike repair. Well, these other guys might be not quite totally legit yet, but
But, right,
because
but
they
we would
didn't want
be-
to advertise where they were. They were doing it by telephone, so
Yeah.
you can count them or not. That's at your discretion. But they're plural, and we sort of have to be careful about that. So.
Yeah, and I also think that we've got something in place that's working with the university and reaching a whole lot of people. And I have one of those little blinkies. I think they're a whole lot better than nothing.
But is the university, this is not a rhetorical question, but are they reaching the same constituency that you would at the farmer's market? I think your idea is if you were at the farmer's market, particularly during peach season when people are showing up, which is now, you might be reaching a different group than it's going to go over and find locations near the alma mater statue, but, with the bigger people. So I mean, that's a question, but we're talking about a small amount of money to do something substantive and easy, relatively easy. So,
While Starstack is not here, I'm also on the Bike to Work Day organization committee, so I can hear him screaming with the $2,500 away from that. So yes, we are actually in the action to purchase those lights. So maybe I don't know, maybe after this meeting, maybe till next meeting, which is in 2 weeks, we're about to put that orders. But I mean, we're always looking for more sponsors. So if BPAC still wants to be part of that activity, I think Sarthak and I will be more than happy to welcome that $2,500.
Maybe the right compromise here is we can get some of those lights. We can use the same process, and maybe we get some of those lights and we give them away at the farmer's market. And it doesn't have, I know you're not going to order them until after the school year started, and so we could just say, is there any way the city of Urbana could get just a certain number of lights? I know they had extra ones this year, so if we could get a certain...
Little ones, the ring ones, extras?
Whatever lights gets purchased, yeah. If there were any, we could maybe give some away at the farmer's market. That might be nice. I don't know. I mean, I know in the past, other people have biked around trying to find people who don't have lights on their bikes. And so I've had long discussions with people about that, is how do you find people in the community who don't have lights on their bikes? And it is fairly difficult unless you tell people you're giving away free lights, to just sort of scream on the corner of University Avenue or scream on the corner of Washington at people. Yeah, they think you're ready to steal their bike. So it's not the most effective. It's just my only concern is with the universities, it's great. I love it. The infrastructure's there. We do nothing. It's just, and I do know that like 50, I know that a large percentage of our population is students, so I don't want to deny that reality, but we do have a lot of people who ride bikes in our city who might also appreciate the opportunity to have lights on their bikes. That's all.
all right, one more question, not rhetorical. Does the Urbana Police,
That was
do they pull over people at night who don't have lights? I think they're empowered to do so. I don't want to make life worse for them, but as outreach, if they pulled somebody over and gave them a light instead of a ticket, I mean, might be good PR.
I can pretty much guarantee you it is not their policy to pull people over. I mean, unless the cyclist it's the same with like a driver. Unless the driver is acting erratically and going to be injuring someone, that is not something they would do. But that said, doesn't mean they wouldn't like some lights.
Yeah, give them a
To
handful of
give
lights for
people,
outreach to people.
yeah, as outreach, I'm sure they would. That would probably be very much appreciated on their part because it would give them a way to talk to people and just give people lights. Yeah.
Well, my question was going to be, do the police still give away lost bicycles once a year? Maybe we should find out how many that they do and provide a light with each of those bikes.
I'm pretty sure those bikes have had, like, that the bike project has made sure those bikes, I'm not sure. I know at least one year they made sure those bikes had lights, but that might have been just a one. And then I was thinking the other one, and I'm not sure.
Yeah,
But
and
that would be a thing to say, hey,
Would be, yeah, because when they do that free bike giveaway, those bikes are gone in like 2 minutes. Yeah, they are gone faster than, yeah.
but those are the people we want to get lights to.
It sounds like we got three fairly straightforward ways to give away these lights and get them where they need to go. One, to the bike project if they have need of them. Two, a handful to the Urbana Police, so if they want to have them in the back of the patrol car and give them away pro bono. And three, the farmer's market. So acquiring the lights, as you suggest, Andy, and then divvying them up this way, one way or the other, they should find their way to the right recipients.
But it's also working with Shoshi and Sarthak to make sure you have enough lights for the bike giveaway.
Actually, we are purchasing fewer lights this year because last year we had a hard time finding who needs a light. Because we have like 2 events within 1 year, and usually people who show up to the second event is people who already attended the first event. So, we of course we have enough lights, so that's not don't worry about that.
So do you still need part of this 2,500 to go to the Night the Light? Were you expecting a portion of that or all of that to go towards the event?
I don't know. I don't deal with that part of this project. I think that's more for Sarthak. So
Because we could also have Sarthak purchase them for us, because the more you that was the deal, like when I was trying to figure out pricing on it. When I was working with the bike store, the bike store owner said, what I would do is I would actually talk to the company, tell them what we're doing with these, and then he or she would give me a steep discount on the lights, not only because you're purchasing a bulk amount, but also because they know that these are going to be gifted, that you're not selling them for profit, yeah. But if Sarthak is already working at scale, that's another thing to keep in mind.
So what kind of a motion can we have here? Let's talk to Sarthak. Okay.
I think we want to talk to Sarthak and see, like, how much are they depending on that 2,500?
I just realized there's also another member of this commission who might have some ideas, and it's a person that works at the Park District. Does the Park District have any strong opinions on this matter?
I would have to check back and see what we could do. Are you thinking of just any event the Park District throws on that we could do something at? I was thinking personally Jazz Walk. I know a lot of people go out to that, and some people actually bike out there. That's one of our larger events. We just had Jetty Roads Day, but Jazz Walk is coming up in September.
All right, so I will move, if this gets us, that we interact with Sarthak in his capacity as a University of Illinois official responsible for bicycle and pedestrian safety, to discuss a way of coordinating the allocation and distribution of basically clip-on or screw-on taillights, right? That's what we're doing?
Yeah, I think it's to talk to Sarthak to see how much of that 20, because, now that I think about it, Sarthak, I'm just not sure if Sarthak would be able to purchase the lights and then give them to us, but we'd have to just talk through the whole process with Sarthak.
Whose money is it right now? Where is it sitting?
It's ours.
Okay.
And so what we
Yes,
normally do is we give it to the university purchases the lights, and then the lights get distributed. So that would be, the workflow could be, we give the money to Sarthak, and we say, Sarthak, we would like a certain amount to give to, and then we're very, we can be very clear, so the lights just don't disappear. Like, nobody wants to see that. Just be really clear that we would give the lights away at, we could say, Jazz Walk, maybe Farmers Market, but like you're saying, that's not at night, like the Jazz. It's always nicer to give lights away, like, in the evening,
We will have farmers markets at night later in the summer and the fall.
Oh, that's
again.
right, the summer market.
Yeah.
I mean, the night market.
Yep.
Ooh.
We also have play days in the park that are pretty much in the evening. It's still daylight out, but maybe around 6 o'clock, 6:30, sometimes 7.
Yeah, see, that's perfect. If we can, and, we could see if the police would be interested in some lights. They might not be, they might be, I don't know. They, right now, I think are so understaffed, they don't have a bike patrol, so they're not really out on their bikes. But,
So what
Yeah.
we want to discuss with Sarthak is the shared distribution of the lights.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So that's,
Yeah, because his interest will be in the university and in the university community, and our interest is very much in the university community, but we're also very much interested in other populations. Yeah. All right, cool. So I think that is a future topic for us to talk about. I think we just would keep it on here as bike light distribution. Bike light, I think the future topic would be, it would be bike light budget. There you go. Yeah, that's great. Do we need to approve that for a future topic, or I think it's just a future topic?
Yeah, I think we can just future topic it. It's not a whole voting action.
All right, thank you, everyone. I appreciate you helping me sort of think through that. I just know last year they had extra lights. Sarthak's going to regret ever letting me know that, but they had extra lights, and I again, I love that we give lights away. I love that people get them. But I think it would be kind of nice, because we're always trying to raise awareness, that there is a Bike Pedestrian Advisory Commission, and that we do a lot of good work, and it would just be nice for people to know that these lights are actually from the city of Urbana, and we care about you, and we want to make sure that you are seen and visible on the streets. All right. The next portion is announcements. So does anyone have any announcements?
I do also have a question. So if I'm announcing, I guess this is the King Park Committee, should I do that on reports of committee, of course? Or is that specifically for Urbana, City of Urbana?
I thought that was specific to
Okay.
this group.
Okay.
I think you can say it in announcements.
Okay. All right. Well,
I think if you want us to take action on something, like if you're like, oh, I'm announcing the King Park and I would like action from, maybe then that would go under the reports committees, but yeah. Or you could just do it as an agenda item.
okay. I don't think I'll need any action this time, but just announcing we had our final and fourth King Park subcommittee. Carmen was there. She provided some good feedback. We presented our new draft master plan, and our plan is to take it to the board this August and have it approved. And I am in the middle of starting an OSLAD application for King Park, which will hopefully be awarded in January, and we can start construction around spring, summer, and be done, fall of 27, hopefully. And, oh, sorry, do you have a question?
Wait, did you say OSLAT?
OSLAD, yes.
What is that?
Open Space Land, I forget the acronym, but it is a grant by IDNR, and it's basically for open lands and land acquisitions. So things like parks, or if you're acquiring a land for a park, and it has to have some element of natural resource in there that you're bettering the environment. So.
Well, I, for one, would love to see a presentation on this if and when you're ever able to share it.
I believe I am, so I can definitely add that, or we can add that as an agenda item, and we can go through the draft master plan.
That would be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Woohoo.
You had the A right, it's acquisition and development.
What's that?
For OSLAT, open space lands acquisition and development.
Okay, yeah. I was going to say, I was thinking of air. I don't know why air popped into my head with the A, but no.
Curious.
So that's where we are, and we've had good engagement from Jetty Roads Day, King School, Urbana Middle School, Urbana Neighborhood Connection Center. So I was at all those locations doing activities with kids and figuring out which amenities they would like to see at King Park.
All right, that is very exciting. I can't wait to see those plans. All right.
I actually also have announcements. So before, by the end of the summer, MTD will replace all the new stop signs with their new logos, and many of them will even have a QR code that your phone camera can scan on and find the information for the stop, and with all the real-time information.
Stop sign, you mean a bus sign?
Yes, like with the stop name and the route that's serving the stop, like the board.
And it'll have a QR code on it. Will it be 5 feet in the air, or will
Oh
it?
no, yes, it's like replace the old thing, but your phone camera will still be able to scan that QR code. We tested that on road. So yeah, it has been a long project, but delayed because of COVID, and now by the end of summer, all the old stop signs with the old logo will be replaced. So keep an eye on that. And also for the marketplace, I think we finally finalized the route, which is because of the strong opposition from Salvation Army, because the initially proposed yellow was like totally left them out there, and now we are having several diversions throughout the day to serve that direction, so that will give them some trip throughout the day. That's it. And also MTD is hosting this year's IPTA, that's Illinois Public Transportation Association. Yes, by the end of this September, and it's also the 50th anniversary of this IPTA conference. So it will be a lot of things happening this fall.
Two questions. How
Yes.
many signs?
You mean the total signs we have off street, or the things that we're going to? 1,934. Yeah.
So you're replacing all 1,934 signs?
Not all of them, but
Okay.
because in the past years, we replaced a small batch of them. But this
Okay.
summer is the first summer without any COVID, and we had 2 great interns do all the work. So we're able to track all the 1,900 plus signs and printed like 380 signs. So that's
Do you have an
ongoing.
in-house sign maker?
Oh, yes.
Ah, that's awesome. All right.
Yeah.
My second question is SIPTAC. That is, can you tell me what that is exactly?
Oh, sorry, that's IPTA. That's like Illinois Public Transportation Association. I think that's what A is for. So that's for all the transit agencies in the state. We gather together for a conference, talk about the industry news and all the new updates, yes.
So is that open to members of BPAC, or is that just, is that going to be more just industry experts there?
I think there's more for industry experts, but I do think there should be some sessions that open for public in general.
That's great. And I know that the city of Chicago right now is, has some, one would say, interesting public transit conversations going on. So I bet, ooh, they do, yeah. It's big. It's some big stuff going on. There's some big moves happening up there. So I'll be curious to see how all that sorts itself out. All right. And especially, yeah.
I know Chicago is a bit different from us. Yeah. A bit different. So yeah, so when it talks about fundings or anything else, it's always Chicago versus other places. So what's going on there might not apply to us. So yeah.
I mean, when I lived in Chicago, I wouldn't take a bus because they would never come. You never knew when they were coming. You were just better off walking, right? Just anything.
But bus. Okay.
I missed so many things because I thought a bus would take me there. All right, cool. Are there? I have announcements. Does anyone else have announcements?
Just a quick congratulations to Bruce and Susan for being reappointed to this committee in June. Oh. So you've committed another 3 years. Thank you for your service.
But I found someone to be president of the Prairie Cycle Club.
That took you 2 years, Sue, I believe, to get another president of the Prairie Cycle Club. Yeah, okay. Who's the new president of the Prairie Cycle Club?
Nothing's official, but.
Sorry,
but-
yeah,
but,
we don't want to scare them off. Don't say the name. It's okay.
Right.
All right, got it. Okay, so my list of announcements are, just since we last met, we've had a few folks who have moved on to other opportunities, and I just want to say thank you, because I know that this work at the city can sometimes be a little relentless, and folks aren't always the nicest. So I just want to thank Carol Minton. She really helped us with the EQL project. She helped us put together sort of that format and how to make it work and the grading process. And she helped move it forward, and she made sure that that money was used in equitable ways and that it is currently out in the community. And it's just always exciting for me to start seeing those projects get implemented. So I just really want to thank Carol for working at the city of Urbana and the work she did. And Marcus Ritchie, I want to thank him. He helped us sort of talk through the Urbana Meander walking tour. Was one of the many things. If you had a crazy idea, Marcus was the guy you wanted to talk to see how implementable it was. So I just really want to thank Marcus for being open to ideas and for allowing us to explore them and to see what the reality or unreality of those projects were. And he's a very creative thinker, and it was always a joy to work with him, and he was good to work with. So I am grateful, Marcus, for the work you did. I also want to thank Will Klatchke. He worked under Carol, and I'm sure had helped a lot with a lot of the BPAC projects. He has also left. And then I really want to say thank you to Tim Cohen. I really appreciated his leadership over the Public Works Department. I'm excited about that pothole machine. I actually got to see it in action the other day. I got to see it filling in. And it was good to, I really just appreciated working with Tim on a lot of our infrastructure projects and working with a lot of he's hired a ton of our staff that we have now. So he came in and there was a lot of staff that wasn't, I mean, I think he hired like 15 people or something over I forget like what it was. Like it was just a crazy amount of staff he hired up. And that's a lot of work trying to do your full-time job as a person who I currently work in a space where we're often hiring people all the time. So it's hard because you're trying to get your job done, but you're also hiring people. So I just want to thank Tim Cohen for all of his work. And then so for some announcements, I would like to say that RPC there was a article in the News Gazette, and it was yesterday, and the headline might help us focus our work a little here. After the worst 6 months for traffic fatalities in decades, RPC seeks community input. So this was a while back. I gave a presentation from RPC. They've collected all this data, but they're seeing a lot more traffic fatalities in the community. So they are seeking input, and the way people can give input, and it was again something that we talked about, and it sounds like it is now live, is a map on the RPC website. I went to the RPC website to try to find it, and I would love, oh, there it is. Gosh golly. It's just ccrpc.org. Historic rise in Champaign County traffic fatalities is right on their homepage. And you can go in there, and RPC has set up an interactive comments map and a short survey for residents to access online. And I'd really like to encourage people to go look at that or tell other people to go look at that. And it's kind of overwhelming when you're looking at such a large map, but if you can just focus on where you live and what you want and what you need. As an advocate, that has always been one of my approaches is, like there's actually a crosswalk on the University of Illinois campus on a street the city of Urbana owns, and it was in one of these meetings. They wanted to add more parking, but they were able to strip parking yet fix that intersection. And that was because I was working actually with Tim Cohen on like solutions, and it's paint on the ground. But just if you can think about that, please, we would love any and all public input on that, because we really are seeing a rise in accidents. And I think it's the cars are just getting big. They're fast. So they're fast and they're very protected. So there's that. And then the other thing I'd like to bring up is there is throughout the summer, there's something that happens on the full moon, and it is a full moon bike ride. The full moon bike ride is a bike ride out to the Sydney Dairy Barn. And is that 10 miles one way?
Yeah, like 10 and a half, 11.
Yeah, and so you ride out, you start at sunset around 7 o'clock at Meadowbrook Park, and we bike out to the Sydney Dairy Barn, you get some ice cream, and then you bike back. It is free, unsponsored, nobody sponsors it, at your own risk. And I think up till, we've been doing this for years, and there will be just hundreds of people. It's just absolutely a delightful way to spend an evening. It's a long evening. You will be tired when you get home, but you will also be very happy. And I did it last week, and it was honestly the first time I did it where I got out to the Sydney Dairy Barn, and usually I get out to the Sydney Dairy Barn and I go in my bag and start putting on like sweatpants or like anything warm so I'm not cold. But it was such a warm night. I didn't even need to do that. So I just want to invite folks. And how do you find out about the full moon bike ride? That's really quite the mystery, Sue. How do people find out about? People will mention it. I'm on the I'm on the Prairie Cycle Club listserv. That's how I find out.
It's usually on Facebook events and on many of the emails because it isn't sponsored
It's
by
nobody
anybody.
owns
It's very
it.
much word of mouth.
Yeah.
Somebody will put it on Reddit,
Yeah.
And I believe the next one is on Friday. And so whatever Friday is closest to the full moon, that's what it's going to be.
Okay, all right.
E-bikes welcome?
Oh my goodness, yes,
Oh, yes.
e-bikes.
Whatever kind of frame of body or bike is welcome.
You could, yeah, the VO will get you there. I know it might, don't worry, that it won't turn off, is my understanding. The VO will get you there. There would. Yeah, yeah, I know, it's fun. I've done the electric bike a few times, and it's a blast because it doesn't matter if it's windy, it doesn't matter, and you just hang out and talk to people. You got some music playing, you got blinky lights on, you're feeling good.
Faster than it's safe to go, and you have a wonderful time. Sure.
Yeah, yeah. There was someone who rode it on a folding bike this time, and folding bikes have tiny wheels, and so that means this poor person was biking a lot, and we just finally went up to them and we said, "What are you doing?" I'm like, we were just, "Can we help?" Like, essentially, we were like, "How can we help?" And this person's like, "Oh no, I'm doing this on purpose. I need the exercise." And we're like, "Okay." And so there'll be like,
Wheels are smaller, the chain ratio is the same.
okay, there you go. Now Sue just geeked out on us. All right. So anyway, I just want to say it's one of the wonderful things about living in the city of Urbana. And yes, folks from Champaign can do it. And again, it leaves from Meadowbrook Park, and it's on the full moon. So that is my last announcement, I believe. Yes. And since I was the last person with announcements, nobody else?
I guess you made me think of one more thing with all the staff leaving. We do have a new staff person that started last week as a new community development director. Olivia Jovine, I'm not sure how to say her last name yet.
Well, if we can be of any assistance to Olivia, and if Olivia has any ideas for us, we would love to meet her and talk to her. So that's very exciting news. Welcome, Olivia. We are so glad you are here. All right, so for future topics, we would like to discuss the lights. And I have one question, and again, you can just shoot me down on this one. I'm not going to hold hard to it, but I have brought this up in the past, and I always get shot down, but I'm going to bring it up again. So I would love if we moved towards the name of the commission was more active transportation, and I feel like that would bring in buses and bikes and pedestrians instead of this very specific bicycle and pedestrian advisory commission. So I don't know if anyone, first off, we can't talk about it unless we add it to the agenda. But second off, is that of any interest to anyone other than me? Because if it's not of interest to anyone other than me, it's okay. I'll just keep saying I serve on the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Commission.
Annie, it's a noble sentiment, but we got a lot to do here. And taking on the MTD on top of that and everything that moves is going to get us, I think,
Right, I do
overextended.
think that focusing on bikes and walkers, and scooters, but, I think that's really needed. There's too much generalization and we get shrunk.
First of all, MTD is already here. Second of all, actually, I got this question about active transportation. Somebody asked me, is bus including active transportation? So I Googled it. Somewhere it says it's in the middle ground. So if you change the name to active transportation, people will question why is MTD here. Well, but like with bicycle and the pedestrian, I think they still have the same question. But I mean, people here are generally very well educated about what is active transportation. Anything against driving by yourself is active transportation. So. Yep.
And that's where it comes from, is when I lived in Chicago, I initially belonged to the Bicycle Alliance, and then the Bicycle Alliance became the Active Transportation Alliance. And it was a fight because the bicyclists were afraid that we will no longer be prioritized. But my opinion of the matter is we're looking at systems here. We're making sure that we have full systems for people to operate in, that we're not just talking about one type of movement or one type of mode of transportation. So that's all.
You can add one more B before that. bus and pedestrian and, sorry, bus and bicycle and pedestrian, BB pack.
Yeah, I like kind of focusing on the ones who would get injured the most by the bigger vehicles. So I think I would prefer to stick with bicycle and pedestrian.
So do we have any other, well, we have future topics. We have King Park, which I'm very excited to see. Are there any other future topics? All right. Since there are no more future topics, I believe this meeting of the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Commission is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Except I agree that like, how active is it to get on a bus? And was the active was, the Chicago group, were they connected to the city, or were they just an alliance? They were, okay, I understand that they're powerful, but were they, were they part of? Oh, I forgot to talk about. Well, we are adjourned. But was that alliance, did they meet in the city building? Exactly, and we're not.